Nelson Wilians Advogados Associados. It's an honor, and I'm very happy to start this meeting today. On behalf of Nelson Wilians, also, thank you all the fellow lawyers who offered to share their experiences with us in this difficult day that we are going through. And of course, including a special thanks to some colleagues who are in a time zone quite different here from ours in Brazil. And thank you, of course, all the participants who are watching us. We started this idea of webinar since 1 month ago, when this difficult days started. Of course, we are talking about the pandemic here in Brazil. Was necessary to create in our office a crisis committee to share quiet information with our clients in the very light speed to understand all the things that are happening here in Brazil, make this translation to share information for our clients. And one of the arms of this project is to share information through the internet, to these lives in our media socials, and making this kind of webinars. And the idea, of course, to have 9 countries here, is to listen each one, what's the difficulties, the opportunities that each country are having, looking through the legal market, of course. We understand here in Brazil that all the law offices have a big importance in this moment to support our clients and to share and translate information to the society. So the idea of creating this kind of webinar is in function of this, of course. The event format, I'm thinking, and we are going to have almost 2 hours of webinar here. Of course, the webinar will be conducted in English, but if any participant wants to make the presentation in English, no problem. We will make these translations for you. And the idea is to start with the institutional presentation of all the offices we have here, the 91. And after that, my partner, André Menescal, will mediate the conversation, making 4 questions for each office, for each country. The idea is to have objective answers, only to understand what problems each country are having these days, the solutions, the opportunities, the informations, important informations to share with countries. Rafael was talking, we made a evaluation yesterday, and the idea that we have 3 kinds of countries here, 3 kinds of moments of countries here. China, in a moment that started the problem there. After that, in Portugal, a problem with 2 or 3 months against Brazil and all the American countries here. So the idea is to make a balance of the information of these 3 moments of these countries. From here, from Nelson Wilians, Dr. Rafael Licínio and Dr. Maristela Basso will answer the questions. And after all the 4 questions, we end in the webinar. So to start, I will invite, please, our friend Kenneth McLean from Lagos McLean in Chile to make his institutional presentation. Kenneth, my friend, please, you have 2 minutes to present Lagos McLean Advogados.
Perfect. Thank you, Marcel. First of all, we would like to thank you for this invitation. It's quite a good experience for all of us to be able to hear from other lawyers around the world what they are living in the situation. We are a medium-sized office law firm based in the city of Santiago of Chile. We also own offices in other cities of Chile, one in the north, in Antofagasta, which is the mining capital of the country, and another one in Puerto Montt, which is in the south of the country. where is the main production of salmon of the country. So those are the main places where our production is being produced for the country. As an office, we're a full service office. We specialize in helping our clients in the operational side of legal problems. So we are experiencing in this moment a lot of difficulties with them in order to try to get over this situation. Well, that's something probably we're going to see afterwards. But mainly, we are also a law firm with some complexity in order to fulfill the legal requirements in a country that is 5,000 kilometers long, but just 120 kilometers wide. So you might understand that almost everything we have to do involves some plane trip or a need of a logistical system that allows us to work with. So it's a pleasure. I hope that this presentation is enough for just have a brief knowledge about us.
Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, my friend. Now I want to invite, please, Dr. Michael Liu to make the institutional presentation of Beijing GAH law firm in China.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Marcel. I think it's a very pleasure for me to join you to introduce DGH law firm. I think it's not familiar with all of you for DGH law firm, but in China, it's really the top 10 law firm, and it's one of the largest law firm in China. We have 40 offices, almost cover all of the provinces in China, and about 2,000 lawyers practicing in China. And also DGH has 10 offices out of China, like in the United States, Russia, Canada, Australia, of course, like Japan, Korea, and southeast of China. But we have any presence through. So I join some of you.
The sound.
Myself, I focus on the position and also the dispute resolution across the world. Huge.
Dr. Liu, we have a problem with our sound. Are you listening to us? Okay.
Yeah, very clear. Can you hear me?
Please.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, I need to repeat or
only the last few words, please.
the few words. Okay. I just want to let you know, DGH. Also, after this meeting, I would like to share the introduction of DGH to all of you in English version. And also another good news for all of you is Wuhan. You mentioned the start of the crisis. And this morning, early this morning, Wuhan, the traffic will open.
Great news.
For shutdown almost 70 days. 70 days. And
Wonderful.
Early this morning. Okay.
Yeah.
I think despite for Chinese people, we have experienced a very hard time, but now I think it's better in China. But as I say from the website, there are some difficulties in other countries like in Spain, France, the United States, or some countries, they are experienced a very hard time. I think all the people, they can pass this hard time and come to normal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor.
Welcome.
Very good news for us.
Good news.
Yes. Now I please invite Jorge Castaño from Colombia, Brick Advogados, make our presentation.
Thank you, Marcel. Do you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, first, I hope everyone is safe and well. And I want to say hi to everyone in this webinar. And
There
as
is no
Kenny
image.
said, sorry?
We
Would
can
you like
hear
to
you,
see
but we
you?
can't see you.
Okay.
Switch it on your video camera,
Sure.
please.
Sure. Hold on,
Yeah,
please.
okay.
Now, can you see me?
Yes.
Yes.
I can see you too. Okay. Anyway,
Much better.
I want to thank Nelson Wilians Advogados for this initiative. I think it's great. It's a great opportunity to exchange the experiences we have, because this is really unprecedented times. I think that there is no record of anything that has happened in the world like this before, not even the World War II times, in which only Europe was involved, but now the whole world is affected by this event, by these events. I am Jorge Castaño. I am partner of Brick Abogados. Our firm is located in Bogota, Colombia. As in the case of Kenneth, our firm is a medium-sized law firm, but provides full service to any business. And we're basically in the business law industry. We have clients in all types of industries, from tech companies to retail, finance, pharma. And we provide services basically on day-to-day advice when they require any type of requirement, and also in M&A and credits and projects that are one time or one shot. As we're going to discuss later how everything is here in Colombia, but the main thing that we are seeing here is that our main ally at this time are IT tools, technology. This is what is allowing us now to talk like we are talking right now, and to exchange experiences, which is great. And thank you very much, Marcel, for this opportunity. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Jorge. It's a pleasure. Now, please, our friend from India, Dr. Daltro, please introduce yourselves.
Thank you very much, Marcel. My name is Gautam Batikar, and I'm a senior partner in the law firm Legasis Partners, Advocates, and Solicitors. We have 4 offices in India: Mumbai, which is the financial capital where I'm based. They've got offices in Delhi, which is the capital of India. I've got offices in Hyderabad and Pune, which is the automobile hub of India. So we are a full service law firm and practice all kinds of law. We do mostly M&A work. I do fair amount of shipping and aviation work. Largely, we are into transportation. We do a lot of litigation and disputes, international commercial arbitrations, IP, intellectual property work, oil and gas, and many other practice areas which we cover. We do large amount of work with Middle East. We do work with European countries. We do work with China. We do work with South America, North America, Canada, Australia, of course, and Southeast Asia. So we cover quite a large practice, and it's a good initiative, Marcel. I should mention this, and it's using the technology in the right way. While the situation outside is bad, but technology is getting us closer, and even more closer than ever before. I think it's a very good initiative, and I should thank you for that.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you for your time. That's the idea. Now, please, I will invite Dr. Fernando Carreño from Von Bobozier in Sierra, Mexico. Please introduce yourself and your firm, please.
Thank you very much. Well, first of all, thank you for the invitation. And as I mentioned at the beginning, my apologies for the informal environment, but we took the opportunity to escape from Mexico City and spend some time with the family here in country house we have in Mexico, which is a 1 hour, 20 minutes from Mexico City. But right now it's quite hot here. It's around 32 degrees. But as part of all the bad situation, we have the chance of spend some time with the family, continue working here. So thank you for the invitation. It's a great pleasure and an honor. The introduction of Fomboves de Sierra, we are a full practice law firm. The firm was founded 34 years ago, and we are, I would say, among the biggest law firms in Mexico. Maybe we are medium size. We have 90 associates, 16 partners, and the main areas of expertise of our firm are commercial arbitration and litigation. We have a very strong antitrust practice, and also we have a very strong and well-regarded M&A and corporate practice. And we do a lot of pro bono work. One of our most important, we are very, very proud of saying that we do a lot of pro bono work. Actually, as a rule of the firm, every lawyer has to devote 10% of their time to pro bono matters. So that's a brief explanation of our firm, and it's a great pleasure to participate in this webinar. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, my friend. It's a pleasure for us. Now, please, my friend from Paraguay, Dr. Javier Parquet. It's a pleasure, my friend. Introduce yourself and Javier Associados, the Parquet Associados.
Thank you, Marcel. I'm delighted to be with you, with these distinguished colleagues. And thank you, Marcel, again. Very close friends of ours, Marcel, Nelson Wilians, and their law firm, with whom we engage in many deals and represent different clients, both in Brazil and in Paraguay. Well, Parquet & Associates is a law firm which is almost 75 years old. And it's a renowned law firm in the Paraguayan legal market. It is considered as a leading firm in administrative law matters. Its practice covers extensive and varied state-related matters in conjunction with the practice of the private sector. In corporate matters, the firm provides advice in all stages, from planning to execution, determine business prospecting, investment conditions, incorporation of legal companies here in Paraguay and internationally. It provides counsel to a long list of international companies in Paraguay, investing in the country in public and private finance projects. The corporate department handles the advice for joint ventures, acquisitions, and company incorporations in Paraguay, M&As, and corporate affairs in our country. In the finance sector, the firm's private score strengthens public law, banking law, and capital market regulation. We have provided counsel historically to most of the multilateral entities active in Paraguay, as the World Bank, IDB, International Monetary Fund, OAS, United Nations, JICA, and others. The firm is a well-known track record in the field of national and international arbitration and mediation, both in the civil, commercial, and sports field. Parquet's lawyers are included in the list of arbitrators in local and international arbitrations. Parquet & Associates is also a member of ONTIE, the first global law that our firm has been created using an innovative model in which the couple approaches defines kind of international strategies. We have 21 offices in 14 countries around the world, all sharing the same unique brand, cultures, and values. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Now, our friend from Peru, Dr. Rafael, please introduce yourself and Torres y Torres Lara Advogados. Your sound, a minute, please.
Now?
Yes.
Hello, Marcel. I am Rafael Torres, main partner of Torres y Torres Lara law firm. I am a lawyer from Lima University, and my specialty is corporate law. I am vice president of the China Chamber of Commerce in Peru, and also I am the CEO of the RPN is the International Business Network. First of all, I would like to thank Nelson Wilians Law Firm for this invitation. I am sure this event will be very useful for all of us. About our firm, our law firm belongs to the TYTL group, which is currently formed by 3 companies. The first of these is ACE Consultores. This company provides economic and financial services, among others, market research, valuation of companies, due diligence. The second company is La Red Internacional de Negocios, the international business network with presence at this time in more than 10 countries. The RIN it was created in order to facilitate the contact between the offer and the demand of business opportunity, such as purchase of sales of companies, search of placement of sources of financing, partners, research, trading operation, between others. Finally, Torres and Torres Lara Law Firm, the first and the oldest of these 3 companies, is a law firm widely recognized in the Peruvian market. Currently, it has more than 50 years, and we have more than 50 lawyers too. TYTL is a multidisciplinary law firm that offers preventive and corrective services. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend. At last but not least, our friend for Portugal, please, Dr. Nuno, introduce yourself and CRS Advogados.
And I'm the managing partner of CRS Lawyers. We are a full-service law firm based in Portugal. Our offices are in Lisbon, and our lawyers have the academic and the professional experience needed to be essential teammates in lives and business of our clients and partners. Our law firm was created on September 2015. We soon began to be successful, and since then we haven't stopped growing. We have currently 15 lawyers. We will open a second office in Porto, and it isn't this coronavirus that will stop us. Where can I say more? Our DNA is to know our clients, share their risk, and support their decisions. Bringing them added value is our greatest commitment. So this is who we are.
Thank you, Nuno. It's a pleasure to receive you here.
Thank you.
So before we started with the questions, of course, I will introduce Nelson Wilians and Advogados Associados very quickly. Nelson Wilians, this year we completed 21 years of history here in Brazil. Our position in the Brazilian market is the biggest one in 2 points. In numbers of own branches, we have operation in all states of Brazil, in all capitals of Brazil. We have nowadays 29 operations in different cities, almost 1,400 lawyers in all these operations, operating in a full service business law. Since 2015, we started our internationalization plan with a partnership with our friends from Chile, with Lagos Maquin Advogados. After that, together with our friends from Peru and Colombia, we created our alliance that calls ALL, Aliança Legal Latino-Americana, Alliance Legal Latin America, to provide legal services here from Brazil to these countries, to provide legal service to the companies from these countries here in Brazil, to the multinationals that are operating in both countries, and to be an instrument to make the things happen, to make the business happen. Identifying opportunities here in Brazil, sharing these opportunities with our friends from these 4 4 countries. After that, with our expansion, we started our relationship with Paraguay, with Javier Parquet. In the other hand, the first step inside Europe with CRS, Advogados, with Nuno and his partners. And the last one, we start to identify an opportunity and share information about India. And there we met Dr. Gautam. It's a friend that we met twice time there in India. And the idea, of course, is to continue this internationalization plan, keeping talking with another countries. Here is Mr. Liu from Beijing, GIHH. The idea, of course, is to establish some partnership with you and to continue this internationalization plan, of course. So this is Nelson Wilians, and to start the discussions, I will call my friend and my partner, André Menescal, to mediate the conversation and start to make the questions for the countries and the lawyers. Please, André.
Thank you, Marcel. Good evening, everyone. I'm very glad to be here with you as well. Actually, it's good evening. Good morning to Michael and Gautam. But thank you so much for being here today. I would like to thank Marcel for the initiative, the idea to put us all together here. My role in this meeting will be very specific. I will just pose the questions to every one of you to make sure that we don't have always the same order. We changed the order in each question. So in the first question, there will be some order, which is right in front of me, and it will change according to the other questions as well. So I would like to start by saying that I'm also very curious by what answers we will get. I was talking to Marcel and saying that I'm personally interested in knowing how things are going in India, China, Peru, Colombia, and everything, because I mean, it's all new for everyone and it's new for us. So we imagine it's also new for you, but it would be nice to see what's happening around the globe. So thank you very much. And I would like to start with the first question. And the first question is, how is your office, what sorts of measures is your office taking to minimize the impacts caused by the pandemics, to make sure you keep working? So what did you do in your operation, your law firm operation, to make sure that you kept operating despite the pandemics? So this is the first question, and my order will start with Kenneth from Chile. Please, Kenneth.
Thank you. Well, at the very beginning of the pandemic in Chile, we had one of the first cases of COVID-19 in our office in Santiago. So we had to take some measures immediately, such as the sanitary ones, as having alcohol, gel, and everything sanitized inside the office. But also, we had to commence to send home all the people of the risk group. Then we began a rotation with all the lawyers in the office and having not only the essential people in our premises. That was the same thing that we did eventually with the office in Puerto Montt and Antofagasta. And given that, we began to work by home office, mostly with all the lawyers and the people that can do it. We had also a rotation among the partners. And partners were going to the office every day until we began the mandatory quarantine that sent us home till today. And that were some of all the initiatives we took in order to avoid the contamination and the propagation of the pandemic inside the office. And I think that it has been very successful, because up to this moment, that initial lawyer was the only one that got the virus, and the rest of the office, at least at this time, they have not been declared with the illness. And if they get it now, they haven't been in the office for the past 15 days, so it's not going to be our fault, at least. Also, we began to, a few years ago, we began to buy and to get the technology needed to work remotely from home. So the continuity of the services hasn't been compromised because we have been working with all our needs being solved by the office tools and all the things that we always has, but also with the resources that we had been preparing for this. Because remember that even though this pandemic is worldwide spread, we began with the need of working at home in October 2019 because of the social crisis we were living. So that social crisis became to be the practice to be at home at this moment. And those are the main things that we have been doing. I think that this has been very successful for the reasons that I told you. And no client has felt that we weren't able to provide the services they needed, because even in the litigation side, everything has been done by a digital source until up to this moment. So we also have no problem in presenting the defenses and actions before the courts.
Thank you, Kenneth. We have here now on the list Michael.
Okay, can you hear me? Thank you, Andre, for your invitation. And I think it's a very special time for all of the lawyers all over the world, particularly in China. For DHH, just as I mentioned, we have experienced a very hard time for the pandemic in China. From the Spring Festival, almost 2 months, we are mandatory asked by the government to stay at home. So we have to work remotely. We are not allowed to go into the office. It's just about a few days allowed to go to the office to meet our clients or meet our people, our colleagues. So there is some hard time for us to practice during this time. But now it's better. How to pass the time during the pandemic in China? Almost all of lawyers, they work from the practical normal working life to online. So almost every day we have meeting online to discuss some specific topic, to talk about the legal service market in China, and to talk about the new technology, how to apply it to the practicing in China, how to communicate with our clients remotely through the website or online. And also there are some lawyers, they just study, research, doing some homework, like to prepare to for the practice. So I think these 2 months in China and for DHH, it's really like shut down and there are no any progress. I think from the beginning of April, except Beijing and Wuhan, almost all the cities, other provinces, they have come to normal. As I mentioned this morning, early this morning, Wuhan has opened to the outside. Almost all of the traffic, like the plane, the train, the cars, the highway, are open to the outside. But Beijing now, if you come to Beijing and you have to stay at home for 2 weeks, you are not allowed to go outside. So I think still there are some difficulties for Chinese lawyers, particularly in Beijing. But just I mentioned that by using the tool of the technology, we just like this time, we just have a meeting online to serve our clients. Okay, I hope as quickly as we can come back to normal. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Before I would ask Jorge to speak, I would just like to tell you, since we have a very limited time for each answer, what I'm going to do is, if you do use all your time, I will do the thing, but I will raise my hand, and if I raise my hand on the screen, then you know that your time is over. Okay, so it's a very polite way to say that perhaps we should.
It's not polite.
Okay, how should I do it? How should I do it?
Only for today. Only for today.
Not polite as necessary.
But thank you, Michael, and I would like to pass the word to Jorge.
Okay, thank you very much. First, I want to give you some context of Colombia and how we are doing with COVID-19. Colombia is a 50 people, has a population of 50 million people. Currently, we have about 1,600 cases and around 50 deaths. Just to give you a sense, in Bogota, we have 9 million people and we have about 450 cases. The lockdown measures for Colombia were implemented since March 19, sorry. And just yesterday, the president extended those lockdown measures until the 27th of April. I think that they are working because even if we don't have the resources of a country like China or Italy or Spain, we have been able to keep the infection low. Hopefully, it's going to be like that for a long time. Longer than this. Well, in regards to our firm, we made the decision to send our lawyers to work from home since March 15th. That was a decision that we made in order to avoid any problem with them, and also to collaborate with the government in their effort to restrict the mobilization of citizens. I can tell you that at this moment, we see no difference or an important difference between what we were doing before the lockdown and what we're doing now. We are fully operating. We have all the virtual tools required to provide services to our clients, all the information in the cloud. So I can tell you confidently that our firm is working as usual. The only difference is that we don't have face-to-face meetings, but we are getting used to this type of meetings. I mean, everyone knows that at this moment we are getting used to the conference rooms like this and meetings like this, and we are going to get better every time with this. Thank you.
Thank you, Jorge. I would like to ask now Gautam in India.
Thank you, Andre. I think in India, the situation is a lockdown up to the 14th of April. While before that, I was in Rio and I came back to India just in the nick of time before the lockout, which was from the 14th of last month. So we have been in the lockout for close to a month now, and we are anticipating that this lockout might be extended to a few longer time in cities like Mumbai, where it's densely populated. Now, with these measures, which was started by the government, I think there's a lot of control over the number of victims that have been there. I think the total positive cases are just about 5,000 as against the population of 1.4 billion. So I think the government is doing well. So coming back to the office, I think since there has been a lockdown, we have been working from home largely. We've been doing webinars and using the technology to the fullest. Just to add, our firm has been the pioneer for legal tech work since close to 12 years now. So we are familiar with the technology, and we have been using that for a very, very long time, ahead of even some of the larger firms abroad. We have been using legal tech and being a pioneer for legal tech for a very, very long time. With having said that, even the courts are shut for the time being. Only very, very urgent matters are being heard. The Supreme Court of India has been dealing with matters via video link. And all in all, yes, there has been a disruption. I won't say no, but we are trying to cope up with that and put things together. And let's hope we come out of it very quickly, and hopefully all should get to normalcy with less fatality and less situations which we face. And let's try and stay safe. Let's try and stay healthy and see how we can overcome these challenging times. Thank you.
Thank you, Gautam. Now I would like to ask Fernando.
Sure, thank you very much. Well, basically, as we will discuss later, the situation in Mexico, it's relatively okay. However, the Mexican government has been, I would like to say, slow and in many cases unclear on the type of measures they have ordered. So basically in Mexico, legally speaking or officially speaking, the official lockdown started on March 30. So officially speaking, we have only a few days of an official lockdown. And what is interesting is that in Mexico, the Mexican president was actually appearing in the TV. He has a daily conference, basically saying that everyone could go out one day. Actually, he was inviting people to go out and spend money in restaurants and small businesses. And the day after that, they announced a total lockdown for practically every industry, with a few exemptions. However, in Mexico, we have learned not to trust in the government, and therefore, in the firm, we started our own lockdown approximately 3 weeks ago. We anticipated that this will happen, and we did a heavy investment in technology and infrastructure in order to make sure that practically all of our lawyers can work remotely. So right now we have 100% of our associates and partners working remotely. And we have done something interesting also in the firm, which was we create a wellness and support team, which is basically daily monitoring all of our associates in order to make sure that what are the levels of anxiety and stress for the people. We have in Mexico many associates that actually they are not from Mexico City, so they live alone, and it's important to make sure that people is keeping the mood up, and they are actually not experiencing a very stressful time. So those are the main measures we took in the office, and of course we're relying heavily in technology and in this kind of instruments and platforms like the one that we are doing right now. Right now in Mexico, as I mentioned before, it's a total lockdown with a couple of exemptions, and the lockdown officially should be ended by April 30. However, we can foresee that the lockdown will be extended at least 15 days more. So that's my answer to this question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Fernando. I think we all experienced a little bit of that duality by the government as well here in Brazil. No criticism, but I think we saw that movie. But thank you for your answer. I would like to ask Javier how how his activities were in Paraguay.
Thank you, Andre. Well, in Paraguay, it's absolutely different. The government has made a decision which is harsh and radical. It's a total and absolute blockout. We only have about 100 people which are infected, and with 5 deaths. So I guess that the role is it's promising, but anyways, we are still continuing with most of these measures, and the government has been absolutely terminated with respect to the lockdown. I guess that regarding the consequences of COVID-19, we should ask ourselves if we're talking about regarding our legal practice, if we're talking about a revolution or an evolution. Even though we're dealing with a kind of like relentless enemy and unlimited consequences, I am inclined to suggest that we are practicing what we should call an obligatory evolution more than a revolution. I understand that the nature and the basis are the same for us in the legal practice, and maybe the scope of analysis, the concerns, and the interaction premises are absolutely different. I guess that it's fair to say that most important organizations that provide services nowadays heavily rely on technology. These difficult times promote a decisive and dependency on them. And of course, a better use of the tools and applications which derive from the technologies of information. How is this evolution expressed? Mainly because we have to think in our brand. We have to concentrate in organization, planification, response, behavior, not presential interaction, and humanization, basically, and technological incorporation. I guess the kind of like the natural impulse within our law firm has made and has conditioned our law firm and our staff to start working on basis and different parameters. We have introduced different channels of communication with our clients. We have regular peer-to-peer communications within us and with virtual meetings between our lawyers. We have developed new standards of interaction. We have also developed new follow-up and control schemes, and also a thoughtful financial planification, which is very important, and a permanent revision of the organization. We have to stay alert because we have to keep up with the quality of our service, and in some cases, even our survival as law firms. Thank you.
Thank you, Javier. I would like to ask Rafael from Peru how the pandemic's affected your firm.
The situation in Peru is quite delicate. Our law firm has been working on the last days to affront this problem in several fronts, no? Since the quarantine was established at 20 days ago. In the economic front, for example, we have carried out a detailed review of the cost of the operation of our law firm, and we have suspended all those that, even though are important, they are not essential for us at this time. No? In the other front, as a consequence of the reduction of the flow of work on some areas and the impossibility of being able to carry out certain jobs outside the workplace, we have reached agreement with our workers and lawyers in order to temporarily lower their income between 10 and 20%. Our goal is to keep the place of work position in favor of all our team. No? Additionally, we have applied during this period accrued vacation that our staff had. Finally, regarding our lawyer, we have promoted telework as part of our daily action. No? Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Rafael. Now, Nuno from Portugal. Right there.
Remotely and without impact on its quality were created before this need. We already worked with laptops and with a cloud system. So for us, it was very easy and possible to have from one day to another the entire team in telework and ensure the regular running of the firm. We have been working remotely since March 12th. Everybody adapted very quickly, and this experience is exceeding our best expectations. Nevertheless, we have had to change routines, increase the consuming time in meetings and telematic contacts between the team members and with our clients. But it is all a new way of working, and it's working.
Thank you, Nuno.
Thank you.
And now we have, is it Rafael or Maristela? Rafael. Okay. Rafael, partner.
Okay.
In Brazil.
Here in Nelson Wilians, since we have 29 branches, some of the decisions are usually taken in each brand. So the first thing we did, as Marcel said, we created a crisis committee to decide how should the firm deal with the problem. So the human resource is a part of the committee, and thank God also we already have been working with a home office system for at least 3 to 4 years. So we are very used to this system, you know. The only thing we did was to make it bigger to everyone else to work in the same way, you know. We also are using the information, as Marcel also said, created and generated by a lot of things like this kind of thing, this lives, and the information we receive by the government, and information we receive from our clients, and we create a way, a daily basis communication to our clients and everyone else to say what's going on in each day, in each new thing that we have seen in the case, you know. So I think the internal work we have been dealing very fine, because we were already used to the home office system. What we are facing the problem is which I don't think it has become a problem, but it's different for us, is the response of the clients and the way that they are anxious to have the answers that we don't have it yet, because the legal system doesn't have it yet. So that's the kind of problem that we are facing right now.
Thank you, Rafael, for your contribution as well. I think with this first question, we're probably all on the same page. I mean, all of our offices are working well with technology on a distance. And I was actually, it was really interesting what Kenneth said, that the pandemics stopped the social crisis, since to be on the streets, I mean, you can't be on a crowd, right? So, if you can't be on a crowd, there's no social crisis, there's no social revolution. So we can even say that the pandemics stopped the social revolution in Chile that were going on since the beginning of the year, right? But
probably just suspended.
Suspended, yeah. It will be suspended for as long as the pandemics will go on, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think that the first question had this objective, to know how everyone was working remotely. And I think the second question is a bit more practical, in the sense that I would like to ask each of you, what sorts of different demands, I mean, what sorts of different services you needed to be able to provide when the pandemics arrived. So you were used to one sort of service, the everyday thing that you do, but then the pandemics came, it affected the activities of all companies that you serve. So how the way it affected the companies affected as well the types of services that you needed to provide to your clients. So this is our second question. And the first one to answer is Nuno from Portugal.
Well, we have created a task force for all coronavirus related matters, intensified our collaboration with the media, and even started making short videos of 40 seconds to address the massive legislative changes. We also created a website, the CRI's legalcoronavirus.com, where we compiled all the legislation produced and related to coronavirus epidemic, with our published articles, our videos, as well as a space with answers to the most frequent questions. We decided we want to make available to our clients and to the general public a very comprehensive information about the problems that arise with the coronavirus crisis. That's what we are doing.
Thank you, Nuno. Now we have Maristela, our brilliant partner, the only woman in this meeting, but very, very strong presence. Please, Maristela.
It's a fail.
Well, it's
not
me
nice.
or no, I can answer if you prefer. No, but the answer, I think, is the other colleague, Rafael.
Oh, go ahead. Please. I would never interrupt you.
No. Would you like to answer or?
No, that's all right. I mean, if okay. Well.
Because you are involved in this first task, and our first task is very important. Now it's better if you respond, if you answer, because you know you are inside the method.
Well, what I see this question is in a true way. I mean, internally, we kept the home office system that we have been dealing quite few years. The way we deal with the legal system, so the judiciary here, it's quite stopped. We have also for quite a few years been able to give the defenses and all of the petitions through the internet. So what we can do through internet it has been done, but there's no hearings, there's no physically communication to the judge and whatever. And the other point of this question, I mean, it's through our clients. We have been facing, I mean, clients asking us for postpone the payments and some difficulties that they are having with the payments from their clients to receive and make the economic still working. And also that's one of the points that we have been facing right now. And we also, since we have the Nelson Wilians Institute, we are doing some pro bono work especially for women, that if everybody's at home, the domestic violence, I mean, has a great chance to grow. So we give the orientation to them. I think Maristela can talk a little bit about that. And we also have other pro bono works that we do in order to make this moment a little less difficult for especially the most sensitive people, you know.
Less dramatic.
Yep.
Well done.
Thank you, Rafael. Thank you. I'm sorry for the
No.
mixing.
That's all right.
So sorry.
I will enter.
That's an honor being confused with Maristela.
Better for you, Bo.
Yeah, perhaps you should form a duet. So when you enter,
Yes.
you enter together. But thank you, Rafael and Maristela. Now, I would like to ask Rafael from Peru.
Well, we are taking a lot of measures. Every day we are sending to our clients information update about the measure that the government has been taking. Also, for the last 3 weeks, approximately 3 weeks, we have been carrying out webinars for our client and also in favor of chambers and association that we are members. Through this webinar, we present the legal changes on various fronts that the quarantine has been generating. It has allowed us not only to maintain the contact, the direct contact with our clients and retain them, but also to present ourselves to other possible clients, company, so they become more familiar with our law firm and the practice areas that we offer. No? Regarding urgent cases, it's pretty much the same. No? The only difference is that we carry out our service via online. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Rafael. I would now like to ask Javier in Paraguay.
Thank you, Andre. Okay, we also immediately created a task force in charge of assembling responses to the main issues that concern our clients related to their business interruption and the financial consequences of the interruption. Questions such as breach of contracts and labor disruptions were the most common. I guess that we also, based on the specific scope of action of most of the clients, we also have taken the initiative of reviewing the incidences of the crisis over their particular operations. That was very important for them, and this was really appreciated by the clients. It also demanded a great effort from our staff at the law firm. I think that Pandemia has a strong effect over the humanization, not only of the legal practice, you know, every single practice just provided by man. The strictly business-oriented perspective is in a certain way attenuated. And the attention is now directed to assist and support individuals and executives from the different companies dealing with a strong stress, anxiety, and serious concerns that arise due to the economic consequences of coronavirus. We must coincide in two elements. First of all, no one was prepared for this. And the only way to walk it through is working together. Making resignations, exhibing multiple examples of social solidarity. We must work finding out rational and balanced solutions between the economic situation of our clients and the right to receive proper retribution for our legal services. Thank you.
Thank you, Javier. I would now like to ask Fernando.
Sure, of course. Thank you very much. Well, as I mentioned before, one of the main challenges we are facing here in Mexico is the uncertainty that, in addition to the pandemic situation, the lack of clarity of the government has caused in practically all of the industries in Mexico. and therefore one of the most important demands from our clients is to really understand if any of the orders issued by the government have an impact on their businesses, and which are the businesses that are part of the mandatory lockdown. As I mentioned before, the government has been very unclear, and they issue a decree explaining which are the so-called essential industries. Those are the only industries that are allowed to continue operations under very strict rules. However, the definition of essential is very vague, and there are many industries that are struggling to identify if they should be considered essential or no. The best example, we have the pleasure of counsel and Anheuser-Busch InBev here in Mexico. They are the owners of the beer Corona, not coronavirus, only Corona beer. Something very interesting is that the decree says that food and beverage are considered essential. However, alcoholic beverages apparently are excluded, and therefore we're facing a very important situation, because they would like to really continue producing. We are convinced that a beer should be considered essential. It's ridiculous to ask people to stay 40 days in their house without beer. I mean, and actually beer has been considered essential in all of the countries. So that's one of the key challenges in these days is to define which are the industries that should be considered essential and which not. And in order to try to also help clients, we created a COVID-19 center information, in which we have posted the typical questions, mainly regarded with force majeure and force majeure questions that most of our clients are facing right now. And I would like to try to keep my 2 minutes, but those are the most important challenges we are facing right now.
Thank you, Fernando. Very good note about the essential industries. And I think we should apply that in Brazil as well. I mean, if beer is essential in Mexico, it should be essential also in Brazil. I think everyone agrees. But thank you. Next one for the second question is Gautam in India.
Yes, I think that the measures are twofold. One is the measure which is internal, keeping the connectivity between the partners, associates, and the other free earners. And second connectivity is the firm with the clients. I think because of the sudden lockdown, there was some situation in India in the beginning, but thereafter, I think things came under control. Even today, the practice of litigation has come to a standstill. The reason being the courts are shut. Courts have only directed, unless it is extremely urgent, you need to come to court, you are allowed to, and you need to make an application to the registry, explain the urgency or the importance of the hearing, and the judge evaluates, and only then a hearing is granted. I was one of the fortunate ones just a week back when we had a ship arrest to be done under the Admiralty Act, which is my main practice. The vessel had come to India and we had to arrest it in good time, which was an urgent matter and which was allowed by the judge, and we actually went to court during this lockdown and got the order of arrest last week. So that's very much possible, but the routine litigation cases are just on the standstill. However, the corporate, the desk jobs, opinion work, and other work is still continuing as required from homes and from home offices. In addition to that, we have seen a lot of use of technology of late, where we come in contact with clients, we talk to each other over webinars or talk to each other over video links. I think this could be more like a saving situation for us in future. I think several countries, even though had the opportunity to get into a technology for law, I think this pandemic has pushed us towards that and made us look at it more seriously than what we used to not look at. As lawyers, we are quite far from technology, but with this pandemic, I think we have tried to bridge that gap. I think that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Gautam. You're probably right about this. I mean, if the ones between us who were not used to the internet, to the video conferences and whatever technology issues that we had, we needed to fix these issues, right? Because the current world does not admit people offline, right? So thank you for your notes. I have, after Gautam, Jorge from Colombia.
Okay, hey, thank you. Well, we identify 3 pillars. The first one is that we have to keep ourselves updated. The second one is that we have to send information to clients which is relevant. So we have to be in a proactive mode all the time. And the third one was the swift response. We have to be quickly in the response. How we did that? Regarding keeping updated, we appointed a team of lawyers that have to follow up every institution in the government in order to make sure that we have the latest regulation that issue. Because just to give a sense, we are seeing at least 2 to 3 sets of regulations daily that are changing. Second, we send relevant information to the clients, and we prepare a toolkit for clients in which we inform them the tools they have that were before the COVID-19 and now, so they can use them. For instance, we explain to them how, or give them guidelines on how to terminate an agreement, what happens if they receive a force majeure notice, what happens if they want to go to bankruptcy. So there are just tools and institutions that they can use at this time. And there, in regarding to swift response, we require lawyers that they should respond to the clients the next day, and if possible the same day, because we know and understand that quick responses are for the essence at this time. So that's basically what we did in order to face this new context.
Okay. Thank you, Jorge. Actually, you presented a very good point there. I mean, we all have experienced that when we're in our homes, when we don't have the physical meetings that we used to have, we need to be even more present, right? I mean, we need to talk more, we need to call them more, we need to be available at video. That's definitely a reality. I mean, and it's even more exhausting, right? I mean, the energy we keep on that is even more exhausting. Very, very good point. Thank you, Jorge. And we have now Michael from China. I would like to make a quick observation, Michael. I think I speak for everyone when I say that we are very curious, especially when it comes to China, because I mean, even India, even it is very close to China. I mean, there is no country in this group right now who has experienced so much of the pandemics such as China. So it would be really great to listen to your answer and know how things went. I mean, how the legal activity was affected, how your clients are surviving, if they are surviving, their economical activity, how it was affected. So please, I would ask you this the same question.
Okay, thank you, Andre. Yes, in China, we have experienced this crisis a little earlier than all of you. But I think for the face the challenge, how to deal with the different types of services, I think the method is similar for the lawyers from the different country. almost all the activities or conduct have moved from offline to online by using the technology. For example, for the training to our young lawyers, we have to move to the online, and also to serve the clients, to communicate with the clients, we have to move to online. And also for the court hearing in China, we have a court hearing system. All the lawyers, if you participate the hearing, you have to move to the online. So I think the technology, the legal technology have helped us to deal with this crisis. As to the clients in China, the crisis not just infect the legal service market, but also infected almost all the industries. Like the restaurant, all the restaurants are closed. And a public area like the park, the cinema, and almost the park, the public places are closed by the government. It's mandatory. You are not allowed to have a meeting like 3 or 4 people. Maybe it's illegal, and also it will be punished by the government if you breach this kind of regulation. For the different industries, I think most of the industries are locked down, and all the society are slowly than before. You have to stay at home. But for some specific industries like the face mask manufacturing, and also like ventilator and some medical protection equipment, they are very busy. They serve not just for Chinese people, but exported for other countries. So I think maybe for you and in the different countries, you have to experience this crisis, move from offline to online. And there is a very interesting thing. During this time, I have participated a survey with the chambers of China for all the industries, what kind of international commercial contracts are influenced by this crisis, and how, by what extent to infect by the crisis, how to deal with it. So maybe there is a question to discuss about the merger, forced merger regarding the contracts. Another interesting issue is I have participated discussion during this time about the amendment of the arbitration law in China. One part is how to make the mediation, arbitration online. There is some discussion regarding this issue. Thank you, Angie.
Thank you, Michael. We even had a question from one of the participants. Of course, we don't have much time to answer these questions, but just to let you all know, Alexandre has asked everyone if you think that there will be a tendency in your jurisdiction to interpret the coronavirus as a force majeure, as this cause for a breach of contract. So anyway, if in your next answers, if someone would like to answer to that, it will be great. Now we would have, there's only one missing, but I don't know. Chile, Kenneth.
Perfect, thank you. Well, in relation to the question that was made, here in Chile, we have no discussion regarding the fact that the coronavirus is going to be considered a force majeure event, because the government has been saying that in almost every action that they make. That in regards to the question, well, because of the nature of the emergency, some areas of our office weren't getting much requirements from our clients. So the first decision we made was to restructure the teams in order to perform creative with the services that this pandemic was required from us. So given that, we took some measures like, in the first place, the specialized teams continue with the work with the support of the rest of the teams of the company, of the office. Teams from taxation and labor law, at least at this stage of the pandemic, are the ones that are more required by our clients. I believe that those are the areas that affects the cash flow of companies initially. Given that, we start a system of collection of information from administration and courts, as in the same case that Jorge was saying. We need to have the information ASAP and at the moment that information is possible for the market, and not after the rest of the law firms of the country already tell our clients that those things were happening. So having that in mind, we began to send to our clients tailor-suited information so they were able to take decisions with the information they need. We had not been sending long general legal opinions. We have seen that the Big Four and also all major law firms in the country has been doing that, and our clients tell us that they don't really need that because they prefer to send something from a law firm that knows them. And in that case, because we know them, we can provide them with the instant solution of the new law or the new rule that will apply to them. Also, even though we're doing all of those things, we have been noting that the law services that has been asking for a law firm are in a decreasing curve. So we're making all the possible work in advance. So when everything begins back to something like normality, we will have no piles of duty to do, and the teams will be able to work right away with the new requirements, and not with the stockpile that this kind of crisis might form. Given that, we already began also to litigate in court throughout video conferences with a very good reaction both from parties and judges. We had been having complete oral proceedings being conducted by Zoom, Teams, and all the video conferencing software that are in the market. And probably the main thing that it's curious for us is that for the first time in our history, knowing the process of formation of law is something that our clients are interested in. So they're beginning to see the Parliament TV sessions and everything. So that's probably the newest thing. But that's what we have been seeing, and that's what we can answer regarding this question.
Thank you, Kenneth. I think we all had that experience of having part of the team idle as soon as the crisis came, right? So we had a lot of activities that made sense in a physical environment. In the virtual environment, it doesn't make sense. And our only doubt, Kenneth, is, I mean, how much of advanced work will we be able to do, you know? So how long will it endure? So if it takes too long, I mean, there's possibly not a lot of work to do in advance. I mean, there is some point where we need to restructure everything and rethink our activity itself. So it's a very good point. I would like to say to everyone that we were having still 2 questions, but part of the third question was answered by each of you in the second question. So since we are also a little bit late on the time, I would like to suggest that we make the third and the fourth question into one to finish our discussions. So then I will make the whole sequence, if everyone is okay with this.
Perfect.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So our last question would be, the third question was originally, what are the impacts of the pandemics on the legal market and business in your country? So I think everyone mostly answered partly or completely that question before. But then we come to the fourth question, which is, what what are you seeing? What's the perspective you're seeing for the next few days, the next few months in your activity and the activities of your clients? So since everyone has already talked about what they're doing, what their activities are, I'm pretty sure that everyone here is also planning their futures, right? The future of your firm, if the pandemics take a little longer, or if some economical activities go to from 100 to 0 in a few months. So our question is more centered on what are you planning to do? What are the perspectives, on your opinion, of how the market and the legal market will behave in the next few months? So the first one is Michael from China. Michael,
only a point before, please. Our friend from Peru, Rafael, has received a call from a client, an important call, and the idea after this call he come back. Okay.
Okay. Perfect. So I will just adapt wherever he was. He was at the beginning of this one, so we will change. But Michael Liu is the first one.
Okay. Thank you, Andre. For the next few months, I think all of China and also the lawyers in China will come back to normal. I think it's a good news. And in April, I see from the website, there is a plan for all the schools like the university, the middle school, and the primary school. They will be open maybe mid of April. So I think for the legal service market, we'll come back to normal in a few weeks or a few days. And also for our lawyers, there are many travel plans to other cities to serve our clients. Just today, after the meeting, in our office, there will be 3 meetings, but of course, together with the online and offline meetings in our office. So domestic legal service market will come back to normal, despite there are some legal service area will be impacted by the crisis. But for the international legal service market, we have to deal with the different practice area. But for the disputes regarding the international commercial contracts, there will be a rise. There will be a rise. We need to think about, and also we have discussed with our colleagues and our clients how to deal with the disputes or how to deal with the like a forced murder impact the contracts between Chinese clients and foreign clients. So I think despite we are come back to normal, but still there are some impacts we need to face, to deal with. Okay, Andre.
Thank you, Michael. We have, I will improvise the order because it changed a little bit, but now we have Fernando from Mexico.
Of course. Well, definitely what we see, it's after we're expecting that the lockdown, it's going to be concluded, as I mentioned before, officially on April 30. However, we expect that maybe that period will be extended for at least 2 weeks. That's an expectation, and in the legal market, definitely we're expecting a lot of work unfortunately on the litigation and the bankruptcy areas. It's a reality that this situation is going to have a huge impact in certain industries. Construction has been heavily impacted by this crisis in Mexico, and therefore we're expecting an important increase in litigation. There is also important activity in arbitration in Mexico, and the decisions taken by the government, as I mentioned before, are not the best decisions. So we also are expecting to see international arbitrations against the Mexican state, mainly because some of the decisions taken by this new government that we have in Mexico. You know that in Mexico we have a government from the left. They have been in the office for 1.5 years. We are not particularly. We believe that the government has not taken the right decisions recently, and it is a reality that some international investors have started to think in investment arbitrations against the Mexican state. That's a reality. But additionally, also in the corporate side, it's a reality, and we started to see important integrations and concentrations. Some of the companies that are struggling could be acquired by companies that are having a good businesses recently. So we expect to see an increase in M&A after the situation has concluded. But it's, of course, we're expecting to see M&A in companies that could be actually in bankruptcy procedures. So those are our expectations in the legal market for the next months. Definitely, it's going to be a challenging situation, and the economy in Mexico, as in the rest of the world, will face important challenges. But we will be ready to work with our friends and clients in order to be ready to go through these challenging situations.
Thank you, Fernando. For the next ones, I would like to add an extra little question inside the question before, which is, how is the judiciary behaving in your country? I mean, does it present a tendency to be virtual in the future or not? I mean, once the pandemics are over, so the judiciary will continue to be on a physical basis. And I'm asking you this because probably Maristela will be able to share our view as well. And I think it's going to be a pretty important change in the legal market, the one involving the judiciary, the way it absorbs our demands, right? So just one extra question for everyone. And next one will be Nuno from Portugal.
Well, this is the type of crisis that affects everyone, regardless of their size or economic power. The law industry will be, like so many others, significantly affected, and there will certainly be a drop in the gains of many firms. However, it is difficult to foresee the future, and much will depend on the duration of the near-stop situation of the economy. And this shutdown of the economy will inevitably lead to the bankruptcy of many companies and a very large increase in unemployment. Regarding the next days, we are here in Portugal, we are in a state of emergency. We have all the retail closed, except for essential goods stores. People in general have a duty to stay at home and only live in a strictly necessary situation. If you are sick with the coronavirus, you are not allowed to leave your home. What this means is that we have many restrictions. And I believe if we can flatten the epidemiological curve, we can slowly relax these measures and gradually have the economy recover. However, everything will depend on the progress, on the progression of the epidemic in Portugal. So I also hope that in the next days, Europe will be able to take important steps in order to reach an understanding on how to better deal with the economy, how to better deal with the economic and financial crisis. That's a very important point. We need an answer from Europe to all the countries.
Thank you, Nuno. So we have on the order now. I think I made a little mistake, but let's now it's Jorge from Colombia.
Okay, well, from the legal market perspective, I think that at least for our office, one of the things we're going to review a lot is going to be the home office possibility. We found out that lawyers could be much more productive if they are at their home working than when they are at the office. I mean, that's no difference. I mean, we think that we are going to explore that in detail. Secondly, we don't think that the type of services we're going to provide are going to be very different, maybe different areas. But I think that that's going to change is how we provide those services. And definitely one of the tools is going to be used a lot is technology, definitely. From the market perspective, I honestly don't know what's going to happen. And why do I say that? Because all the measures that the government is taking are aimed to protect the health and life of citizens. They also have issue regulations in order to extend payment terms for taxes or to provide grace periods. But no even one regulation is issued to reactivate the economy. That's not happening here. And I think it's all around the world. So I think it's going to be a mess. Many companies are going to be hurt. And I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I'm not very optimistic about that because many people are going to lose their jobs and companies are going to be closed. And since the government is not interested in that, but just protecting the health and life of citizens, is not going to be nice in the future for us.
Thank you, Jorge. Now we have Javier from Paraguay.
Thank you. In Paraguay, we have switched from a flourishing economy with a dynamic, productive organization into a group of confused and preoccupied individuals, investors, and professionals. We were transforming a society with multiple doubts and confusions, which is now trying to emerge, dealing with serious economic issues that threaten our existence. The legal practice is basically, in our law firm, concerned addressing urgent matters, trying to impose ongoing transactions, protecting their clients from payment suspensions, breach of commercial and labor contracts. We also are concerned with the welfare and the protection of our attorneys as well. Fear has substituted enthusiasm. We understand that the actual sanitary emergency won't disappear immediately. I strongly hope that somewhere in the close future, we will be able to get over this despair, assume the crisis, and develop the necessary strength to cope with the situation, overcome this state of alarm and astonishment, and begin making steps towards reactivation. As to the judicial and administrative proceedings, they are suspended in Paraguay, and we have no idea when they will be reinstated. The government has to make a decision if they are going to liberate the absolute shutdown. It's a decision that's going to be made next week. So there's also a lot of doubts regarding the continuation of most of these processes. Thank you.
Thank you, Javier. I think one common point among every one of us is the uncertainty, right? I mean, none of us can really say that we know what the future is for the legal market. So really our question is just, you know, it's a call to imagination, to creativity, because foreseeing the future is really not really possible. But I share this idea with you as well. I would like to ask Gautam now.
I would look at it in three possible scenarios. The scenario at present, immediate future, and in the long run. So at present, the situation is such that everything is under lockdown. Litigation is hardly moving forward. Transactions are what are actually going on are going on. There are no new transactions that are coming. I don't think anybody would be taking steps on acquisitions or getting the stakes off the company at this point in time, because everybody will do a wait and watch scenario, whether it is a business or any other industry. So having said that, the situation in the immediately after the opening up, there are two possible scenarios. One, there could be a huge amount of litigation for disputes relating to breach of contract, or possibly parties invoking force majeure clause. I think somebody had asked this question. Now, just touching upon the force majeure clause, I think on the 19th of February in India, the finance ministry for the procurement arm has already invoked the force majeure clause in all the contracts and have given the parties to think on the force majeure clause. I think this eventually in the long run is going to have a ripple effect. So it's every industry is connected to the other and other connected to the vendors. We may face this issue. That's my thought process, that there could be a huge flurry of litigation that is just pouring. There could be a huge cases relating to bankruptcy and liquidation, or it could be just the other way around, where people are very careful to move ahead. There could be a possibility where corporates might come to the law firm and say, I want a reduction in fees. I can't pay this much. You come with some proper fee structure. So this could impact a lot of law firms as well when it comes to the charge out rates, or when it comes to charging a client, because everybody is in trouble in short, other than the essential commodities and other than the medicines which are being widely circulated. So that there could be, it's again, we are unsure about what's going to happen. I think we need to be more open about different possibilities that could emerge, and try and figure out if it's a worst case scenario, how as a law firm we are going to deal with it, and if it's a good scenario, everybody is happy. So the worst case scenarios, there could be maybe smaller law firm who can't withstand for a longer period, may eventually end up closing down or reducing a headcount, or possibly there could be a situation where the law firms are in fact struggling to survive. These are, I'm not talking about India, but I'm talking about globally. I think this situation we should not overlook. I think this situation is always there. If there is such kind of a situation for smaller law firms, which is the other end of the story. If it's a best case scenario, everybody has work, everybody is doing the work. But if it's a bad patch, and for certain countries, if this economy goes so bad, then we are going to see a situation where we need to be prepared for that as well. That's where I think everyone needs to look at it. Everyone needs to see how more work can be generated through associations. More work could be generated through knowing each other and keeping afloat. I think it's time to be together rather than away from each other. I think this pandemic has got, like we are today together, have got a lot of people together and made each other to introspect, think as to, is the practice that is driven today, Is it the right way to do it, or should the model be changed to some extent to serve certain clients who are today facing a financial difficulty and still want your services? I think we need to strike a balance between all these. So there would be a lot of litigations, what I feel. There would be disputes which going to come up. There would be advisory work on bankruptcy and insolvency. There might be a situation where the acquisitions might slightly dry down. This I'm talking about not immediate, but in the longish of the period, maybe 6 months to 1 year down the line. But that's going to continue. It's not like as soon as you are back to the office, the work is not going to flow. There would be every corporate is going to sit and do their budgeting again. And then thoughts would then be put together saying that, should I stick to this law firm who is charging such a high rate, or should I go to somebody else which is second in line and charging less and giving the same services? I think we as lawyers need to even look at these situations which are going to come up. So that's what I wanted to put in a nutshell.
It was a really good nutshell, Gautam. I'm pretty sure everyone appreciated it, and I think the whole synthesis is that our market will be more competitive, right? Such as any other market after this crisis. So we need to be prepared for this. I would like to ask Maristela her answer to that last question.
Namaste. Thank you, Andre. I should consider the two questions, number 3 and number 4. I will try to do, and I will try to be directly. In Brazil, as well as our colleagues talked about their countries, the legal market, if you talk about the present, the market will undergo, it's not a good news, but everybody knows, will undergo until the pandemic passes. Now, I think it's better, and I'm focused on reviewing international contracts based on the hardship clause and force majeure clause. Then it's my focus and our focus in international sector, international department at Nelson Wilians, is to review this contract and help our clients to solve their economic and sanitary problems now, according to these two possibilities, force majeure and hardship clause. After the pandemic, the market tends to gradually, I emphasize gradually, return to its normal peace. However, it's important to observe, and I'd like to stress that after the pandemic, many international contracts and international operations, such as joint venture, mergers, acquisitions, should be revised their first agreements, or the foundational agreements, in order to adapt their contracts to the new reality, new national reality and international reality. Also about the present, the next few days, we will see a proliferation of domestic laws passed urgently to last only during the pandemic crisis, such as labor, civil, commercial laws, especially, among other fields. Many of them, if you talk about these new laws, many of them, considering they are valid only during the pandemic crisis, may contradict international free trade agreements and cooperation agreements, cooperation treaties, for instance, bilateral investment treaties. And because of this exceptional situation, you should deal carefully case by case, client by clients, when you consider this possible violation of international agreement and the impact of this violation for emergency situation should affect or will affect our clients and their international and national too contracts. In addition, all contracts, if you talk about an international atmosphere, international environment, should be reviewed to be adapted to the new reality, national realities and international realities. Entrepreneurs should take legal measures to adapt their contract during the pandemic crisis and just after the crisis passes. You told before, or you asked for everybody here to talk about our judiciary. We have a clear sign or position from our judiciary now, even because they are closed until the end of April. But the tendency or the sign that you can note from our Supreme Court is good, because the Supreme Court has been supporting the new laws, the emergency laws and acts from the government, and the new laws, the new bill of laws from our parliament. Then it's, I think, to be clear about the present moment and the future, and the near future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maristela. I'm not sure, but I think Kenneth was the one to not answer the last one, right?
Yes.
Yes. It was only you, Kenneth? It was only you, right?
I think so. Yeah. Because Rafael is not online.
Yeah, Rafael is not coming back. Yeah, please.
Probably in this, because I agree with all the appreciations that has been said here. What I can probably tell you is what has been happening here in Chile already in this stage. We have been seeing that small law firms are beginning to close, and partners are going to their houses with no law firm to return to after this. We also have been seeing an increase in a pricing war between major players of the market, whom are beginning to low down the charges on fees, as Gautam was saying. We already began that war. So what we are doing now is seeing that in the future, probably the main firms that are going to survive this with a better position for the new economy that we're going to have after this are the ones that has been in hand-to-hand with the clients, proving them that you want the long-term relation by making unilateral lowdowns of the fees. That's something that we are doing already. And also we see that the main way that we usually conduct businesses as lawyers here is going to change. I also agree that the home office is going to get a new position. We're seeing that with very good eyes, because eventually that will allow us to see that our budget for real estate might be even being lower, because I don't know if we are going to need these beautiful offices after this, if we are going to work on an online base mainly. Our judiciary system is working very well with the online procedure, so I think that in the future we're going to see that that came to be the future and not something just for a temporary situation. So we're happy about that. And I see some opportunities in the future also regarding this, because given that the law market is a mainly manly market where women have been struggling to get in better positions for the past years, we see that home office probably will provide a new possibility for women to get a better insertion into the law market, because it's something that we all have been seeing, that you can effectively mix the house life among both parents with the working life. If you have home office, you will be in a better position. In fact, our government, among all the emergency laws that it has been taken, we provide us with a new law for home office that regulates the work. That's I think it's the first step for a new way to conduct businesses. Probably that's what we see because I agree with all you had to say. So I think that's the main thing we can say about the Chilean side on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Definitely home office will be the future. And I think our clients, I mean, every new client will start to question if the composition of the price of the rates that they're paying is also related to real estate, right? So, and if it is related to real estate, they might require, well, how much does it cost if I don't need all this, right? So it might be a tendency. Let's see how it works. So I think now everyone has answered the last question. I would like to give each 1 minute to their final considerations. And from myself, I would like to thank you all for your participation today. Thank you, Marcel, for the opportunity to be here, Rafael, Maristela, and all of our international partners. We learned a lot from every one of you. Really liked that. We'll start to use those ideas and experiences still, I mean, tomorrow in our daily activity. And we hope in a few months, we will all be here in our own activities, all changed, of course, but everyone exercising their law practice from a different perspective. So thank you very much, everyone. And I would like to, ask you each 1 minute for their final considerations. Rafael, please.
I would like to thank Marcel also for putting this together. It was really great sharing this experience with all of you. I also would like to thank our friend Gautam for skipping a sleeping night to be here with us. So thank you everyone for sharing your experience with us. As André said, we are facing something that has never been faced before. So every experience is very important to us to make the decisions and keep the business going on and not be one of the ones on the bankruptcy list. So thank you all very much for your help and for your time. Thank you.
I would like to leave you very free at this moment, everyone to do their 1 minute final considerations.
Well, I really appreciated this meeting. I thank you for my colleagues from Nelson Wilians, and I really appreciated to be together far, but together from our colleagues in Latin America and Asia. I really, really appreciate it, and I thank you a lot. And I hope to see everybody soon, personally.
Thank you, Marcel.
Well, from our side, we want to thank all the Nelson Wilians team for this. I think it's a very good opportunity to talk, to know. We usually receive the information for social media or some sources that are not directly connected to the source of the information, as the opportunity to hear from Michael Liu about the situation in China. We usually receive that even through all the Occidental media, so we don't really know what's going on the land. So I hope we can repeat this. This is a good opportunity to meet each other also. Hopefully after 2020, we will be in a position to see a brighter future and not all the things that we have been talking today. So thank you all, and we will see you.
Thank you, Kenneth. Javier, I think you need to unmute. Javier?
Yeah, there we go. Okay, thank you again for the invitation, Marcel, colleagues. And as a conclusion, I would like to share with you the famous reflection of Albert Einstein referred to crisis. I don't know if you know this, if you have read this, but it's very interesting. He said, "Do not pretend that things will change if we always do the same. The crisis is the best blessing that can happen to people and countries because a crisis brings progress. Creativity is born from distress, as the day is born from the dark night. It is in crisis that invention, discovery, and large strategies are born. Whoever overcomes crisis outdoes himself without being overcome. Without crisis, there are no challenges. Without challenges, life is a routine, as you know, Adam. Without crisis, there is no merit. It is in crisis where the best of each other rises up. Without crisis, any win is careless. Talk of crisis is to promote it, and silent in the crisis is to exalt conformity. Instead of that, work hard, get it over with the only crisis threatening, that is the tragedy of not wanting to fight for it." Einstein.
Very good.
Thank you, Javier.
Okay. Andrew, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, Dr. Marcel, for your invitation and your organizing. And thank you, Andrew, for your host. And thank you, everybody. It's my glad to know you all. And I'm very happy to hear your voice from the so far from China, Latin America, Portugal, India is a little clear. And I think it's, despite the crisis have impact us negatively, I think we move online to know each other is one of the positive impact of the virus. I hope we can talk more, continue to communicate. Hopefully we can cooperate together to serve our clients. Also, I try to know you all, particularly the name for me is difficult to remember. Dr. Marcel, I think is correct, right? And Javier.
Javier.
Yes. Javier, okay. Nuno from Portugal. And Kenneth, Chile, right?
Kenneth.
Okay. Rafael, okay. And Basu?
Yes, me, Marcela.
Okay.
Yes, Marcela.
Basu is her last name. Her first name is
last name.
Okay, got it. Andrew, familiar. And Bacareno?
Yeah, that's the last name also. It's the first name is Fernando.
Oh, Fernando. Fernando
Correct.
is very familiar. There is a football player, Fernando. Okay. The last name is a Joga.
George. Jorge.
Okay, Joga.
Got it. From Colombia.
Got it. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, from my side, I think what Javier told is I would like to mention something quite similar. Of course, less inspired than the Einstein words, but basically I'm convinced that a crisis means opportunity. So let's take the learnings from this crisis and hope that we can take that learnings and improve in our professional work and take this opportunity to be better connected. Thank you for the invitation, and it has been a great pleasure to participate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fernando.
Jorge?
Yes, well, I just want to thank Marcel and the team. I hope that in the future we have more webinars, and I think this is really, really useful and enriching. So I hope you stay safe and take care, and your families are okay. And as everybody said, I think that at the end, since it is a problem for the whole world is gonna, I mean, go ahead and leave this behind, and we're gonna be fine. It's gonna take a little time, but we're gonna be fine in the future. So thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jorge.
Gautam?
Yes, I think, thank you, Marcel, for putting all this together. And I thought it was fantastic meeting all you people from different parts of the world, and knowing your thought processes, knowing what the government is putting together as a law firm you're putting together. How are you all supporting clients? How are you all working together remotely or otherwise? I think it was a fantastic discussion, I would say that. And taking this forward, I think Marcel can connect all of us together over an email or something, and then let's see if we can maybe do a similar webinar after a few days, or maybe once we are out of this pandemic, and stay connected, stay safe, stay healthy, and let's try and see when we can possibly professionally work together at some point in future, and let's hope for the best. Thank you.
So my friends, thank you very much. No words. Thank you all of you. To talk to us.
You close, Marcel.
Oh yes. Oh, sorry, Nuno, please.
Yeah, sorry.
Nuno from Nuno.
Sorry.
For me, it was a pleasure to be here with you. I hope each country can prevent and control the number of deaths with this virus, and at the same time can preserve employment, because the hungers also kills. So thank you, and stay safe.
Thank you. Sorry, Nuno. So I want to thank everybody for the truth and your time, including our friends from Asia. It was the mid of the night in India, starting the day in China. It was
good breakfast.
Yes, it was very, very amazing. The expectative was superating a lot. All the points, the views that we had here was very rich, and of course you put everybody in touch to continue this kind of discussion, to share more information, to identify opportunities from all countries that we are operating in our offices. It's very important for us here in Brazil to hear a little bit more about what is going on in each country. So after that, the idea included is to make some paper of the points of each country and share these points with all the offices. And the idea is to share with all the people in our countries to know a little bit more about the rules and the laws of our operations. Thank you, of course, all the people that are attending this meeting. We have almost 70 people in the chat. Some questions are made, and I will share these questions with you. And I hope that we have another opportunity like that in the soon future. Thank you very much for all, and see you, my friends.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Stay safe.